Hello, we are going to look at political party platforms and their ideologies on the political spectrum. This will begin the fourth unit we will cover in class. So, looking at the functions of political parties, they do a number of things, including electing candidates, educating the public, they operate the government, and they really get people involved in the political process. They also serve as government watchdogs to make sure that the other party uh, does not have too much power. And parties also supply a sense of stability within our government. And looking at various party systems, you have a couple. You have a one party system in which one political party exists, two party or multi party systems. That's where you're going to have more than uh, one party who exists. An example of that would be the US. You also have coalition governments where the government is formed by several parties who combine to form a majority, and that would be Great Britain. And looking at third parties, typically they're not going to be your major political parties. Sometimes they might stand for a single issue. So in the 1840s, the Liberty Party stood for the abolition of slavery. That was about it. They do have a major impact, though, or they can have a major impact on elections. They can split the vote from one of the major parties, allowing the other to win. So, 1912, Theodore Roosevelt broke off from the Republican Party, and he ended up taking votes from William Howard Taft, um, which allowed Woodrow Wilson to win. Some of the reasons that third parties typically never win it has to do with a number of obstacles. They must obtain a lot of voter signatures in a short period of time. The winner take all system doesn't play into their favor. It's hard to win when most voters support a major party. Um, they have less media coverage. They don't have as much money to spend. Um, so that's why third parties don't typically work out. And looking at the history of the U.S., you can kind of see um, the history of political parties in this country, with really the Republican and the Democratic parties um, existing and branching off of the Democratic Republican Party. Now, looking at political ideology, you have what the left, the right, and the middle. So the left we call liberals. They believe that the proper role of government is to actively promote health, education, and justice. That would be the Democratic Party. The conservative would be the right, or the belief that the government should play a limited role in people's lives and focus on traditional family values. That would be the Republican Party. And the moderates would be the middle, or the belief in both liberal and conservative viewpoints. So you can have moderate Democrats and moderate Republicans who would be closer towards the middle, just leaning to the right or to the left. And looking at party platforms, we're going to go through a couple of them. But Republicans, you also might hear them called the GOP because a nickname is the Grand Old Party. They're typically represented by the color red, and their symbol is an elephant, where the Democrats are represented by the color blue, and their symbol is a donkey. Both parties believe in a mixed economy. The Constitution, they believe in the Bill of Rights, the value of private property, as well as individual achievement, but they also have some common differences. So, in looking at the Republican Party platform, individual rights as opposed to a large intrusive government. They want hands off from the government. They prefer lower taxes. They really oppose taxing the wealthy at a significantly higher rate than poor people. They support restrictions on public employee unions. In the 2012 election, they argued that marriage should be limited to one man and one woman. It's pulled directly from their party platform. They opposed abortion. Um, the Republican Party supports Medicare but wants to privatize it. In terms of the environment, they say it's needed, but they also want it privatized. They are not really for sustainable energy. They believe in the use of all energy sources and that the market should determine which ones to use, including mineral and resource extraction. And they believe in the concept of what is called American exceptionalism, and that is increased military spending, a reduced reliance on the United Nations, and strong counterterrorism measures with significant presidential power in order to maintain security. The Democratic Party has some other beliefs. They believe that, or I'll read it for you. We're greater together than we are on our own, that this country succeeds when everyone gets a fair shot, when everyone does their fair share. They believe that the government should take an increased role in providing social services and security. They believe in increasing taxes on the wealthy, reduce taxes on the poor. They want to encourage government regulation to protect consumers. In 2012, they argued to increase the federal minimum wage. They express support for unions and the right to unionize. They support same-sex marriage. They support women's reproductive rights, including abortion. They want to ban employment discrimination against gay and lesbian people. They want to end wage discrimination based on gender. They oppose the Republican stance of privatizing Medicare, conserve publicly owned lands and resources. They want to be less involved in military conflicts, so they supported the removal of troops from Afghanistan and Iraq. They also look to the UN as a centerpiece for international order, and the UN is the United Nations. They want strong counterterrorism measures, including a cybersecurity command within the military. They want reduced military spending. Other third parties you might see would be the Green Party. They're typically more liberal than the Democratic Party. They want to focus on the environment. They advocate for nonviolence, sustainability, alternative energies, universal health care, and electoral reform. The Libertarian Party platform is another party. They want personal responsibility and minimal government intrusion. They oppose regulation of wages, prices, guns, marriage, abortion, and the media. They want to phase out Social Security, and they believe that the role of the military is the only role of the military is to be a response to an aggression. The Constitution Party platform is generally more conservative than the Republican Party. They want to abolish most federal taxes, especially income tax. They oppose abortion in all cases, oppose same-sex marriage. They want to limit immigration, phase out Social Security, and end social welfare programs. So you can see there are a number of political parties, with the two major ones being the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, with various third parties out there.